Hi, Sage Women Rising. How's your Sunday afternoon going? I am here to share my Sunday afternoon ritual with you. This is one of the ways that I have banished the Sunday scaries, and it has to do with flowers. Every Sunday afternoon, my daughter and I usually make a run to Trader Joe's, and we get all our little goodies for the week. And the first stop, as we all know in Trader Joe's, for those of you who have a Trader Joe's, is the flowers. And they always have this gorgeous array of fresh seasonal flowers. And I love to make a bouquet that brings nature in and brings beauty into the house, but also honors the divine feminine and helps us honor the goddess energy. I have a beautiful little altar in my room that I set up after my trip to Egypt earlier in the year. And it has all of the beautiful alabaster statues that I got of the various goddesses. And for instance, I have Sekhmet, who I really had a strong connection with when I was in Egypt. And I learned that she loves the spicy. So if I can't get a red flower that appeals to me or is available, I will just fill up this little chalice with some red wine and put it next to her. But I really love to gift her the flowers. And then I'm gifted by them too, because I can see them from my bed. And it's just a beautiful little ceremony. It's my personal little ritual. As you can see, I have 3 vases here. One is for the kitchen, one is for my room, one is for my daughter's room. And then I take these little roses from the garden and I clip them down and I put them in these 3 little containers here, little vessels. And I have some shelves in my room that I have a Kuan Yin on and I have a Mother Mary on, and I always love to gift them with fresh roses for the week when they're in season. And if not, then I will pick one of the flowers that I got at Trader's or wherever I picked up the flowers for the week. And I will, I've actually got Sekhmet right here. She is a powerful, powerful, powerful goddess. And I love to please her with something spicy. And she helps keep me spicy and on point and on track for the week. So anyhow, that's her. She's beautiful. And I did get her in Egypt, and she was hand carved at the place that I actually purchased her. So really something beautiful and special. So now I just want to share a little bit as I put my flower arrangements together. Usually if there's leaves on the bottom, I'm clipping those off so they don't make the water get all icky over the course of the week. And I'll just look to do a variety. But the most important part of this, honestly, is the intentionality with which I do it. My dogs are watching me, by the way. They love this. They're little goddesses. So they love to watch as I'm doing this. They're always interested. And this is gonna be one set. You can see how gorgeous these colors go together. So that's gonna be, some of those might wind up here in the kitchen and in my daughter's room. And she's on a little carnation craze. She said the girlies say that the carnations are in again. So that's cool. They went out when I was in high school, and they were just for like boutonnieres and corsages, and then they seemed so kind of out of date. So I guess I judged them too harshly. But if you can see, the center of these has that little bit of red in it that goes with this, and these are dahlias, and they are, oh God, I just couldn't believe when I saw these today. I was like, there's my spicy for the week. So anyhow, I'm gonna just keep kind of adding to this. But as I said, I want it to look beautiful, of course. I love the aesthetic of having fresh flowers. That was something I always said, like when I could afford to do it someday, I was gonna have fresh flowers in my house every week. And I've been so blessed that I can, which is one of the reasons that I love to show my gratitude with honoring the energies and the forces that I believe helped me get where I am, to be so fortunate. But so I want it to be aesthetically beautiful and pleasing, but really, I really want to honor that ritual. Rituals are so important in our life, and they can be so simple. They can be like washing the dishes and washing away our fears, washing away our reservations and maybe something we're facing in the week or something we went through in the day. And we just kind of find these little opportunities to connect and to make everything that we do kind of meaningful. It doesn't have to be everything we do, but there's certainly opportunities throughout the course of the day. And I'm actually gonna switch this one over because these flowers are pretty bulky. And so I'm gonna want to be able to have a little more room to spread out. And I have a couple of babies left over from last week. And when I save them and I make sure that they're not too wilted, but there's something that I feel like I can salvage and get at least a couple more days out of. I love these little berry flowers. I don't know what they're called, but they're darling and they're long lasting, which is amazing. And so I'll just trim off the bottom here so they can drink up that fresh water. That's kind of like a ritual too, right? Get rid of the old so that we can be ready to absorb what's new and what's coming. I'm going through a lot of changes right now in my life personally, in my career, as it's winding down, as I get closer to, I don't want to call retirement, but I'm going to say reignition, and working towards my future healing practice, which will now be full-time going forward instead of trying to squeeze it into my corporate life. So I'm super excited about that. But of course it comes with sometimes a little bit of trepidation. So I'm being super aware and super conscious of that. And when it comes up, I just clip off that old part and remind myself that we are always changing. Change is inevitable. It's the biggest part of life. And that we have to acknowledge when we've been attached to something. And we have to give it its due course. There's some grief involved in it. There's some ego involved in it. There's some, personalization of things and where we got our great feeling about ourselves and our accomplishments and what was possible for us. And to think of kind of going on our own and working for ourselves can be a little intimidating for those of us who haven't done it or done it recently. And so I'm really leaning into my rituals, doing a lot of clearing with sage, doing a lot of meditation, working with my pendulum board, talking to Raphael and my other guides and my higher self, just really tuning in with some automatic writing and just making sure that I stay connected and present as I witness myself going through this kind of imminent transition now that I've picked a date. And so it's pretty exciting, but it's also a little daunting if I'm being perfectly transparent. So I'm going to be leaning into these gorgeous flowers, leaning into Sekhmet to remind me of that goddess energy. Without it, nothing is really possible. We live in such a patriarchal society for so many centuries. And so to bring forth the power, the fierceness, the love, the compassion, the righteous anger when we need to be. Not that we need to be hysterical by any means, but there are times when we really must stand in our truth and speak truth to power and be there for ourselves and advocate for ourselves and know when the oxygen has left a room and it's time to move on. That's a big part of stepping into our power. And that's the Sage Woman Rising. So anyhow, I just wanted to bring you along on my Sunday afternoon ritual, share with you my flower making exercise. I'm going to clip these little babies right now here for Mary and for Kuan Yin. She loves, by the way, if you love Kuan Yin and the goddess of compassion and empathy, and you want to honor her, she loves water, she loves flowers, so you can just do something like this, get a little statue of her. We have several of them. My daughter is handing me one right now. We have one in our dining room. You probably see it behind me on other videos when I'm filming. I have one in my bedroom. She has one in her bedroom. We just really love, because we're so into Reiki, we're so into helping ourselves and being a light in the world for others, that Kuan Yin, to stay connected to that empathy and the power and fierceness of Sekhmet, kind of dynamic duo, and lots of balance in that. So we want to honor that and recognize it. And I'm telling you what, every time you look at these fresh flowers throughout the week because they catch your eye, you can't help but be reminded of those universal forces that help us and inspire us and strengthen us and guide us. And I'll walk by in my room or in the hallway where we have another vase, or my daughter's room, and I'm just like, I'll just take a quick second and be like, thank you. Or, help me release this. I'm in a story right now in my head and I need to get rid of it. And it helps me stay really conscious and present. So that's my little plug for flowers. You can get them wherever. If you're lucky enough to have a gorgeous garden, I'm sure you probably pick them and bring them inside. But if not, do it. It's so beautiful and it's so nurturing. And to do it with a heart full of gratitude is beyond. Okay, so Sunday ritual part 2. We're getting ready to bless this beautiful assortment that I've created for our rooms and our living space. I've got this one, which is the spicy red for Sekhmet. So this is going to go in my room next to my Egyptian altar. Can't wait to get it in there. I've already placed my roses next to Mary and Kuan Yin up on my shelves. This one will be housed in my daughter's room next to Kuan Yin, her Kuan Yin. Remember I said she loves flowers and water. And this one will be for our living space, probably right here on the kitchen counter. Gorge, so beautiful. And then we had enough, even with all these gorgeous full bouquets, to have a fourth little baby. Not sure where this guy is gonna go, this little lady. She's beautiful, she's got everything in her. So she'll have a special place of honor, someplace where we need to be reminded of the divine feminine and enjoy her gorgeousness all week. Who knows, maybe my daughter will take her to work with her. And again, here we've got Sekhmet and we've got Kuan Yin, so they're already enjoying this. Little sage here, and I'm gonna relight it. I've got sage and lavender in here and a couple of other herbs. I love to mix up a bunch of different herbs, make my own little brew. And so now I'm just basically going through and just giving a blessing to them and also releasing whatever energy they brought into the home, because let's face it, a lot of people touched them before I got to them. So I just send everybody's energy back to them with love and light. And we are always bringing all of our energy back to us with love and light so that we are whole and grounded. And I will also be sending them a little bit of Reiki so they hold this gorgeous blessing all week. And then blessing myself as well. My little statues. And I've got 3 cards here for the week as well. And this is part of the ritual. But this is something I wanted to share with you because I learned this new way of doing this. And I just thought it was such a cool way to do a 3-card pull instead of like past, present, future. It is the area of focus is the middle card, which would be 2. And then we've got here, this is actually, so there's give and receive. So what do you need to receive as it relates to your area of focus, and what do you need to give? And so this area of focus card that I pulled is from the Feminine Wisdom deck, of course, because we're in our Divine Feminine era on Sunday night. So we've got the card, which is Harmony. She's a beauty. Look at her sitting there. Does she look like she has the Sunday scaries? No. Nay, I say. She is just resplendent and connected to the Great Mother. And the back of the card is beautiful too. I think I've shared this deck before. So I'm just going to read real quickly about her. She is Harmony, which is this one right here, and just a quick one. A peaceful, consistent, and balanced state of being. And that's what we want, right? We want the consistency between the divine masculine, the divine feminine, to be in our power, but also in our compassion and our love. And the dogs are wrestling. It's their after dinner wrestle, romp and roll time. So we ignore. Step into your inner peace, as peace is your power in this phase of your life. To live in harmony means honoring your truth, calming your mind, and nourishing your body. Harmony is about balance and how you perceive and respond to the outside world. Dedicating this time to harmonious life will result in a greater productivity and a clear path forward towards your deepest dreams. And the affirmation is, I achieve my goals with ease. Well, is there a more perfect card for a Sunday night as we approach the week, no matter what our week holds? They're usually busy for most of us. And we've got things to do and things to achieve. So this is our focus, is how in the world, in this busy, crazy world, with everything going on with politics, with everything going on with Epstein, with everything, they're chasing now. They love to do this when I'm filming. So anyhow, with everything going on in the world, how do we stay in harmony? How do we stay in peace and balance? Well, if we're relying on the outside world, it's a long road to hoe. We are not going to get there. If we're waiting for the world to stop spinning backwards, I hope it does, but it's going to take a minute. And even then, it's still going to be the world, just full of people, full of situations, full of injustices, full of light as well, and love that we bring to it. But, we go out there and we have to be ready. And part of that readiness is not being in fear or anticipation of the worst, but knowing that within us we've created this temple to the divine feminine, and that we are balanced with the masculine, so we can stand in our truth, we can speak truth to power, we can be fair, we can be balanced, and we can be grounded. So that's our focus for the week. And then we move on, and this one I had obsidian as the marker on, which is one of my favorite stones. It's got a beautiful mandala on it. I hold this stone all the time. It's so beautiful. And then we have got, what do we need to receive in relation to that? And the card I pulled for that, covered with the pyrite stone, which is about abundance and all of that good stuff, is the Tao, which is a beautiful card as well. And this is from my Kuan Yin Oracle deck. How fitting that we're talking about her this evening. And so I'm going to share this card, and this card, as I said, is the Tao. And this has got quite a lot of words with it, so I'm just going to kind of share the overarching message of it. And that is that you are invited into a more advanced spiritual classroom of the soul. And we tend to interpret that as more work. What do I need to do more of? How do I show up in a way that is going to bring more to me, more awareness, more awakening, more alchemization, more everything, more profound insights, more development of my clairs, more. And that is such a kind of worldly way to think about it. Really what's required of us is that surrender, which I love to talk about because I think it's such a vital concept, is to understand the gift of surrender. And that does not mean you're just a leaf on a stream or a leaf blowing in the wind, but it likens it in this to being like bamboo, where you can be strong within ourselves and able to move in this direction or that without losing our power. In fact, our flexibility can become part of what makes us a powerful instrument of divine creativity and healing. So Source is constantly and endlessly unfolding, and it calls us to be flexible. It calls us to surrender. It calls us to be still and to listen and to be attuned and to sync up our soul to our highest and best good and purpose. And that does require flexibility, because sometimes it's not what we want, or it's not the timing, or what we think we want, or the timing that we think is what will be best for us. So, but it's really easy. I mean, life becomes so easy when you're in surrender and when you are attached to and holding space for the divine masculine and feminine, because one implies kind of the inward journey and one implies taking right action. And so those two things in balance are so powerful. So I do want to read this, the threshold. I want to read the prayer to the Tao, which is, guide me, restore me. I trust you completely. Your wisdom, love, and joy lights my path, and the way becomes easy for me. Om Mani Padme Hum is the chant that goes with that. So, I invite you tonight, maybe before bed, or when you just climb into bed, to lie quietly in a slightly darkened room and just feel the edges of you blurring, and that kind of blurring into all that is. Like, erase the borders and surrender to the higher energy and the higher cause. So that's what you're meant to receive as it relates to this, that message of surrender, but strength and flexibility and being powerful in that. We are powerful both in how we show up in how we take a stance for things, and also how we flow and bend. And then last, but certainly not least, covered by the Moonstone, still honoring this amazing Leo new moon. I have the Moonstone here, and even though we are moving out of the new moon phase, we'll still probably have a tiny little bit of energy left from it. We've got 24, the good news, congratulations. And this card right here is from the Divine Feminine Archangel Oracle by Claire Stone. And It is gorgeous. Patricia Nairn illustrated it. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck, and so meaningful and kind of simple in the delivery, which I love sometimes to get a card that is, or a deck that just, you can just dial right into it. So the good news, congratulations. So this is what you're receiving, and this is what you are going to be giving out as a result of it. You are meant to prepare yourself for good news, which sounds like receiving, but really it is for the successful outcome. And what do we do with that successful outcome? Well, it unfolds. We know that our life is unfolding in a positive way, and that means that we are on our highest and best path. It means we're of service to others. It means that we're in our full power, our full glory, our full giving, our full empathy, our full compassion, all of the alls, all of the all goods. And so when you are full like that, because you have strengthened yourself through your rituals, through recognizing that surrender is so important and connecting to that guidance that's always available to us, then we are able to overflow. The good news isn't just for us, it's for everyone we touch and everyone we encounter. So we become the oracle, we become the bearer of the good news. And that good news is really, it's not preaching or evangelizing, it is the light that we carry and the light that others see. And everybody is living in this same crazy world right now, but when they see how you show up, and that it's not that you're not phased, but that you have a faith and a hope that, as they say, goes beyond understanding. And that has everything to do with knowing that we are ascending to a higher timeline, and that we are in the birth canal right now, and it's kind of tight and it's kind of dark, but there's only good news to come. There's only alchemy. There's only magic that's available to us. So that is my message about the Sunday Scaries, how to overcome them, how to do a beautiful ritual for yourself and for your home. And I also have some Archangel Michael spray here, and I'm going to spray this over the flowers because these are so divinely feminine, and I want to balance that out with the divine masculine. That's something that I really seek to be aware of for myself, is not being one to the other, out of balance, right? We get in a situation and we're like aggressive about it or highly competitive or whatever the case may be. That certainly can occur for us when we go into the workplace. It's not that it doesn't have its place. It absolutely has its place to show up and advocate for ourselves and advocate for our ideas and be fearless in sharing our perspective and our point of view, but also balanced with the intuition, the divine feminine within, where the ideas and the inspiration come from, and then bringing them forth in a truthful, authentic way into the world so they can be birthed. And we want that balance of both. So I hope you found this helpful and fun and gorgeous, because it is. And I feel so ready for the week. I'm excited for it. I know that I'm grounded. I know I've given Reiki. I know I've received Reiki. I've got these beautiful messages for myself and for you. And we've saged, we've released energy, we've reclaimed our power back to us. We've balanced our divine and our masculine. So we are ready to go. Have an amazing, amazing week. And be that sage woman rising. And if you happen to be a man watching this, be that divine feminine rising within yourself and bring balance to the world from the other side of the perspective. Have a great week.